Welcome to the review. Today I'm taking you back to the year 1997 with 10 short-lived cartoons that didn't quite make it past the first season. Some of these were great, some of these were horrible, and some of these you may not even remember. Leave a comment below with which one of these you remember and which ones deserved a longer run. Number 10, The Adventures of Sam and Max, Freelance Police. Based on Steve Purcell's cult favorite comic series, The Adventures of Sam and Max Freelance Police followed the bizarre exploits of a dog and a hyper-violent rabbit, who somehow worked as law enforcement. As freelance police, Sam and Max took their assignments from a mysterious commissioner they never actually met.
10-4, affirmative. Roger, Miller, gotcha, check. We're on it.
Was it the commissioner?
Not exactly.
Which was pretty fitting for a show where nothing ever made sense. Their cases sent them to far-off and strange locations, but the duo rarely stayed focused. In between missions, they found time for Bigfoot hunting, time travel, paranormal nonsense, and surreal detours that often had little to do with the job at hand. The humor was fast, absurd, and way smarter than most Saturday morning cartoons at the time.
Now there's something you don't see every day.
That's exactly why I quit my summer job at the petting zoo.
There.
The series premiered on October 4th, 1997, airing on Fox Kids in the US and YTV in Canada. Despite lasting just 13 episodes, the show managed to win a 1998 Gemini Award for Best Animated Series, proving that critics clearly got what kids' networks didn't. Even with strong reviews and industry recognition, Sam and Max was canceled after a single season. Today it's remembered fondly by fans and is widely regarded as underrated, ahead of its time, and maybe just a little too weird for its own good. The entire series is currently streaming free on Tubi. Number 9, Channel Umpty 3.
Channel Umpty 3, here on your TV. Channel Umpty 3, here on your TV.
Channel Umpty 3 followed the globe-trotting misadventures of Ogden Ostrich, Holy Moly, and Sheldon S. Cargo, who traveled the world in a van that secretly housed their own underground pirate television station. Broadcasting from wherever they could park, the trio used their show to highlight the so-called wonders of life, often in the strangest ways possible.
Homework's not completed, or you didn't do your best, or they find out that you cheated on a mathematics test.
Standing in their way were the Frumps, a group constantly trying to shut the station down or expand their own power. Unsurprisingly, every scheme they came up with blew up in their faces, usually thanks to their own incompetence. One of the show's most unique traits was its heavy use of stock footage, which it blended with animation for comedic effect. Episodes also slipped in plenty of references to well-known films and TV shows, giving the series an oddly clever media-savvy edge. Created by Jim George and produced by legendary TV figure Norman Lear, Channel Umpty 3 was designed to encourage kids to appreciate life's oddities while keeping things loose, goofy, and unpredictable. The series aired on Saturday mornings as part of the Kids WB and ran for one season of 13 episodes. While it never made a huge splash, those who remember it tend to describe it as educational, wacky, and unlike anything else on the block. Number 8, Extreme Dinosaurs. Extreme Dinosaurs actually began life as the Dino-Vengers, first appearing in Street Sharks before spinning off into their own series.
Dino Duds, altered to dino sizes, courtesy of Benzie.
Based on the 1996 Mattel toy line, the show followed a group of dinosaurs transformed into muscle-bound super warriors by an interdimensional alien criminal. Instead of serving their creator, the dinos rebel and dedicate themselves to protecting Earth, battling another mutated group known as the Evil Raptors.
You must
must obey me. You're my creations.
Wanna try and make us?
I think you're right. Next batch.
The Raptors' master plan caused global warming by raising Earth's temperature to make the planet more comfortable for themselves, with zero concern for what happens to humanity.
They already ruined the cable access station.
The series debuted in syndication on September 1st, 1997, as part of the Bobot Kids Network, and ran for just one season. From the over-the-top designs to the extreme attitude, it was clear this cartoon was built first and foremost as a merchandising machine, and Bobot fully leaned into it. By August of 1997, the company had signed licensing deals with over 22 companies, including Mattel Toys, Hallmark Cards, Fruit of the Loom underwear, and multiple clothing brands. If you couldn't watch Extreme Dinosaurs, you could at least wear it. While critics weren't impressed, the show is remembered today as a loud, ridiculous time capsule of the era. When dinosaurs were jacked, everything was extreme, and Saturday morning cartoons were basically toy commercials with theme songs. Number 7, Extreme Ghostbusters. Several years after the real Ghostbusters ended, supernatural activity has practically vanished, and without ghosts to bust, the Ghostbusters have gone out of business. The team has drifted apart, leaving Egon as the lone holdout, still living in the firehouse, monitoring the containment unit, taking care of Slimer, and teaching a paranormal studies course at a local college. When ghosts suddenly start returning, Egon realizes he can't handle it alone, and recruits 4 of his students to become the new Ghostbusters. Kylie Griffin, a gothic genius with a sharp mind.
The average student just isn't enlightened enough to be interested in the paranormal.
Eduardo Rivera, a hot-headed everyman.
The name's Eduardo.
Garrett Miller, a wisecracking wheelchair athlete.
I got a surefire method for picking locks.
And Roland Jackson, a former football player with a calm, scientific approach.
I don't really follow rap music much.
Returning favorites Janine and Slimer also rejoined the action, helping bridge the gap between the old team and the new generation. The voice cast was stacked, featuring Tara Strong, Billy West, Jason Marsden, and Alfonso Ribeiro, giving the show plenty of personality. Extreme Ghostbusters aired in 1997 on the syndicated Bobot's Kids Network Extreme Block, running for 40 episodes across a single season. Like many 90s cartoons, it came packed with merchandise, including Treadmasters action figures and 3 video games. But what really set it apart was its tone. The show deliberately aimed at a slightly older audience, pushing darker stories, scarier ghosts, and genuinely creepy imagery that tested the limits of kid-friendly horror. Today, Extreme Ghostbusters is widely remembered as an underrated gem, a surprisingly mature, atmospheric sequel that proved the franchise could grow up without losing what made it great. Number 6, The Legend of Calamity Jane. The Legend of Calamity Jane follows the adventures of a heavily fictionalized Calamity Jane in Deadwood, South Dakota, reimagined as a whip-cracking, gunslinging frontier hero years ahead of her time. Jane flat-out refuses to play by the rules of the Old West. She openly defies the restrictive female roles of her era, tackling outlaws, conspiracies, and larger-than-life villains head-on. Whether that means using her whip, her gun, or her sheer stubborn determination.
What in tarnation?
I'm Calamity Jane.
Backing her up is her loyal partner Joe Presto, with occasional assistance from her legendary friend Wild Bill Hickok, giving Jane more than enough firepower and wit to take on anyone who crosses her path.
Wild Bill Hickok, you're the lowest side windingest, crooked shooting dirty varmint to crawl out of a hole and look up at the light.
The series debuted on September 13th, 1997, as part of Kids WB, but its run was brutally short-lived. After airing just 3 of its planned 13 episodes, the show was abruptly pulled from the schedule and replaced by Superman the Animated Series, a tough competitor for any cartoon to survive against. For years, the remaining episodes were essentially lost to time, turning Calamity Jane into a forgotten 90s curiosity. That all changed in 2022, when Comics.tv launched a Kickstarter campaign to finally release the complete series on DVD. And the campaign succeeded. The full series was officially released in September 2023, giving this forgotten kids WB casualty a second chance to find the audience it never got back in 1997. Number 5, Mummies Alive. In ancient Egypt, an evil sorcerer named Scarab murders the pharaoh's son, Prince Rapsis, in a twisted attempt to achieve immortality. For his crime, Scarab is entombed alive, but that's not the end of the story. Thousands of years later, Scarab awakens in the modern world and resumes his dark mission: track down the reincarnation of Prince Rapsis, now a regular kid named Presley, and steal his soul to finally gain eternal life. Standing in Scarab's way are Rapsis' ancient protectors,
With the strength of Ra!
Jakal, Wrath, Armon, and Nefertina, along with Rapsis' loyal cat. Awakened from the dead, these guardians channel the power of Ra, transforming into superpowered warriors, sworn to protect Presley at all costs. Each mummy draws strength from an Egyptian god. Jakal channels the spirit of a falcon. Wrath wields the power of a snake. Armand draws from a ram. And Nefertina embodies the spirit of a cat. The series premiered in syndication on September 15th, 1997, and ran for one season, totaling 42 episodes, airing daily in many markets, usually right before school, which is exactly where most kids remember watching it. Naturally, the show came with a full toy line of action figures and vehicles, and a second season was planned, but those plans were scrapped due to poor ratings. Critics at the time were brutal, dismissing the series as a cheap Gargoyles knockoff, but fans who actually watched it remember Mummies Alive fondly, praising its mythology, serialized storytelling, and surprisingly dark tone for a kid's cartoon. For many 90s kids, this was must-watch TV before the bus showed up. Number 4, Nightmare Ned.
Thank goodness I'm awake.
Nightmare Ned follows Ned Needlemeyer, an anxious 8-year-old who copes with everyday childhood problems, school, bullies, embarrassment, by processing them through dark, surreal nightmares. Produced by Disney and developed alongside a computer game of the same name, the series was a massive tonal departure from what audiences expected from the studio at the time. Instead of cheerful musical numbers, viewers got twisted dream logic, exaggerated fears, and imagery that felt closer to Tim Burton by way of Nickelodeon. The voice cast featured some instantly recognizable names, including Brad Garrett and Victoria Jackson, adding personality to the show's strange dream world.
Good night, Ned.
Sweet dreams, honey.
Premiering on April 19th, 1997, the series aired on ABC and was met with mixed reactions. Some critics praised it as offbeat and colorful, while others labeled it dark and disturbing, which honestly kind of sold the point. Nightmare Ned lasted just one season of 12 episodes. Discussions for a second season did happen, but the show ran into too many roadblocks, including budget overruns and creative disagreements between the producer and director. After its initial broadcast, the series never aired again and was never officially re-released, earning it a reputation as a lost relic of 90s animation, often described as a great oddity in Disney's television history. If you saw it as a kid, you probably remember it vividly. And if you didn't, it's the kind of show that makes you say, Disney made that? Number 3, Spicy City. Spicy City is an adult animated anthology set in a sleazy, neon-soaked futuristic city, where every episode tells a new story, packed with sex, violence, dark humor, and sci-fi weirdness. Serving as the show's sultry guide is Raven, a nightclub hostess and classic femme fatale, who introduces each twisted tale.
He's been dreaming of me. Could have been a contender if he'd only had the guts.
Some stories are grim and brutal, others are playful or absurd, but all of them live up to the title: stylish, risque, and unapologetically adult. Created by animation legend Ralph Bakshi for HBO, Spicy City was one of 2 adult animated series to debut on the network in 1997, the other being Spawn. At the time, HBO was actively exploring adult animation after discussions around Trey Parker and Matt Stone's animated short Jesus vs. Santa, which would soon evolve into South Park. That interest led HBO straight to Bakshi. The series premiered July 11, 1997 at midnight, beating South Park to television by over a month, and officially becoming the first adults-only animated series to air on TV. Reception was mixed, with some praising its bold visuals and mature storytelling, while others found it uneven or too sleazy for its own good. A second season was planned, but behind-the-scenes conflict derailed it. Bakshi and HBO couldn't agree on the show's future direction, which reportedly included firing the entire writing staff. As a result, Spicy City burned bright and fast, ending after just 6 episodes. But its place in animation history is secure, as a groundbreaker that proved adult cartoons had a future on television. Number 2, Van-Pires.
So check your fear and get in gear. The Van-Pires are here.
Van-Pires centers on a group of human teenagers who defend the world from evil anthropomorphic junkyard vans and vehicles, known as Van-Pires, by transforming into robotic car-shaped warriors called the Motorvators. Yeah, for real. The show was a chaotic blend of live-action performances, early extremely rough CGI, and visuals that often felt less like a cartoon and more like an extended late-night fever dream.
All I know is I got me a car and I got me some gas. Now everyone else just kiss mine.
At times, it looked like Power Rangers collided head-on with a low-budget computer animation demo and lost. Van-Pires debuted in first-run syndication on September 14th of '97, airing across UPN, the WB, and Fox affiliates, and lasted just 13 episodes. Reception was mixed at best. Some viewers appreciated the bizarre ambition and unusual mix of live action and CGI, but most critics and audiences slammed it for its poor production quality, confusing mythology, and barely coherent story arcs. The series was reportedly renewed for a second season, and there were even rumors of a full-length feature film, but none of it ever materialized. The engine stalled, the Motorvators never returned, and Van-Pires vanished almost as quickly as it appeared. Today, it stands as a one-season flop and a perfect example of late 90s TV excess. A show so strange that most people genuinely forgot it ever existed. Number 1, The New Adventures of Zorro.
Zorro will fight for them all through the night for them. Zorro will always endure. Zorro!
The New Adventures of Zorro marked the third animated television series to feature the legendary masked swordsman. But this time, the creators took a very sharp left turn. Instead of classic swashbuckling adventure, the series injected science fiction and fantasy into the Zorro mythos. Our hero now battled supervillains armed with steampunk technology, magical weapons, and bizarre sci-fi gadgets. To keep up, Zorro wielded his own advanced gear designed by his mute manservant Bernardo, and even received mystical assistance from a Native American wise woman named Grey Owl. Produced by animation legend Fred Wolf, the series debuted in first-run syndication on September 20th, 1997. While ambitious, the execution didn't land with longtime fans. Reviews were mixed to largely unfavorable, with many criticizing the show for straying too far from Zorro's grounded roots, especially the sci-fi angle, which felt wildly out of place for the character. Despite running for 2 seasons and 26 episodes, The New Adventures of Zorro failed to leave a lasting impression. Today it's mostly remembered as a weird experiment, a bold but misguided attempt to modernize a classic hero that ultimately left the series forgotten by most who saw it. As always, thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more videos just like this.